move on to react to the USMNT. They were able to open up their Copa America campaign. Yesterday, they took on Bolivia, and they won the game 2-0. Really dominated the game from the beginning to the end in terms of performance. I thought it was really good. 20 shots for the U.S., to 6 shots for Bolivia. 8 shots on target for the U.S. to 3 shots on target for Bolivia. 61% possession, 39% possession for Bolivia. I think the start of this game was kind of reminiscent of the way the U.S. started off their World Cup campaign against Wales. That U.S.-Wales game, that first half was complete and utter domination by the U.S. I think this first half was similar to that against this Bolivia team, against much weaker Bolivia team, let's be honest, than the Wales team. So not as impressive, but still that first half very, very impressive. Christian Pulisic scored a wonder of a goal. I think he's just so clutch for the U.S. men's national team in these big tournaments when they need him the most. It's been a little bit of pressure that's surrounded the U.S. this past few weeks, especially after that embarrassing game against Colombia, and we could see it if they got off to a bad start. If they got off to a bad start at these Copa Americas, a bad performance against this Bolivia team, didn't even necessarily need to be a loss, but a bad performance. The pressure could have riled up against these players, and it could have been bad. And Christian Pulisic, to start it off, just comes with an absolute wonder goal to relieve the pressure, to relieve the tension of the team. He is a clutch player. He's a superstar. He's like, what I call Vitinha for Portugal, and the fact that I trust Vitinha in these stages to make the difference for them. That's what Christian Pulisic is. He's such a clutch player, and I think he's gonna have a big Copa America this year. Fuller and Balogun, he was able also to get on the goal sheet. It's been a while since he's been on the goal sheet for the U.S., which is another good sign. In terms of his general play, I don't think it was the best. I think in this kind of game, the U.S. should have a lot more goals, but he was able to get he was able to get on the score sheet, which is good. It's good for his confidence. As this Copa America goes on, I think he will be the number 9 for this Copa America, so that was good for him. Now, the performance was, I can't give it an A+. I think it was A. I thought it was really good. Can't say it was excellent because 2-0, at the end of the day, 2-0 is not enough. Now, obviously, in these opening games, the most important thing is to win it. You don't really need to, the domination thing, that's not really necessary. But it's still, we still need more from the U.S. 2 goals is not enough against this Bolivia team, in my opinion. From what I saw, out of all the games in Copa America that I've watched, Bolivia is probably the worst team. Definitely the worst team in this group. I watched that Uruguay-Panama game. I thought Panama had some players with the ability, that they defended pretty well in certain times. I don't think they were really that bad. Now they went up against a juggernaut Uruguay and then handled them, but I thought they played really well. They put a good showing of themselves. I think they really managed well by their Danish manager, and I definitely think they'll give the U.S. far more of a test than what Bolivia did, because Bolivia was poor. They were really poor. And it was they rely. It's known how much they rely on their atmosphere at La Paz, the altitude. They don't have that here, and the players have to make the difference based on their quality, and there's not much quality within this team. We saw it. Just the footballing ability within this team was just not good enough from Bolivia, and the U.S. just had far more technical players, but they were only able to score 2 goals. But still, it's a good start for the U.S. Now, Uruguay was also able to win 3-1, so they're currently sitting technically top of the group based on the second tiebreaker, which is goal scored. So that's a tricky thing too that the U.S. still need to manage, in the fact that if they deal their cards right and they're able to go into that final game on top of the group, then they can go into that game kind of playing for a draw, because that'll still be enough for them to win the group. Honestly, though, I don't know if it's a big deal whether they win or lose the group. They kind of either play Brazil or Colombia, and probably now looking at him, probably be Colombia that finished first in the group after Brazil dropped points to Costa Rica, and Colombia were able to get past Paraguay. but still, you want that added, added value there. So that's something the U.S. need to manage. You know, get as much goals as you can. That's why I think it was disappointing, because I think Uruguay going up against this Bolivia team, I think Uruguay could put a heavy pounding on the Bolivia team. The difference in quality between those two teams is astronomical between Uruguay and Bolivia. So I think Uruguay can really lay the pounding on them. So it's important that the U.S. do something of similar to Panama. And but Panama won't be no easy opponent. Now, regarding the players, I want to talk about the player ratings. I think let's start off with the back. I thought Matt Turner was pretty good. I'd give him a 7. He was not really. He didn't have to do much in terms of shot stopping, in terms of playing out of the back. It was just simple. No real pressure that he faced from the Bolivian team. So yeah, I'll give him a 7, primarily because he wasn't tested. I thought Anthony Robinson was pretty. I'm not going to rate all these players. I'm just going to talk about the performances. I'm not going to lie. I think Anthony Robinson was pretty good. I thought he did very well going forward. So, I thought Robertson had a very good game. He was overlapping. He has energy to go up and down, up and down. You love that. Tim Ream also was really, really good throughout this game in terms of defending. Not that he was asked to do much. He did give away possession a few times. I thought both him and Chris Richards gave the ball away way too many times this game, and he was not they were not even pressing. So I think that's something that Chris Richards and Tim Ream, to an extent, they have to clean it up. I think Joe Scally was solid too. That it wasn't really tested much by Bolivia's wingers, so I thought it was decent. Again, doing these player ratings are kind of difficult in the fact that none of these players were truly tested. Tyler Adams, decent. I'm surprised he was able to get the start. This is his first time that he started for the U.S. since that Nations League. Thought he was pretty good. Only played the first half, but was really good in the first half he played, being that number 6, being the defensive stability for Tim Ream and Chris Richards. Weston McKennie, he didn't have the best games, and he's going through a lot with the club situation. There was the potential deal of him going to Aston Villa, not working out now because of player negotiation, all that. Just interesting things going on with him regarding transfer. So maybe a lot of it was messing to his head. But as far as the performance, I don't think he was really that well. I think his confidence and shot. McKennie has the capacity to do so many things for this U.S. men's national team. He can play underneath the striker. He can play almost as a 6. He has ability with being able to pass the ball, to drive past players, to be a threat. Running into the box, making the late runs into the box and scoring goals. He gives you a lot of everything. I think he's like the American version of a Jude Bellingham. I think there's some of the players. Now the difference in quality is there. I'm not gonna go crazy. There's a difference in quality, but in terms of their play styles, I think is very, very similar, and it's important for him to get his confidence back. I think these MLS rumors is a joke. I think he's one of the best players we have to offer, and he should never be coming to MLS at this stage in his career. That's a joke, but I don't want to go too much on that. It just really bothered me seeing that. Gio Reyna, very good. He was willing to dribble at defenders. He created a few set piece opportunities by earning fouls. I thought it was pretty good. Again, there was not much pressure he faced, so again, easy for him. Christian Pulisic, obviously, I have to give him a 10 because of the goal that he scored. That he was really, really good. Not just because of the goals he scored and the clutch factor of that goal, but I thought he was really good. I thought his ability to beat players one-on-one, and play little 1-2s with his teammates. Served not only as a player to create opportunities for themselves, but also a playmaker. That he was the best player on the pitch for the U.S. So bravo to him, man of the match. Balogun, I think besides the goal, I think it was pretty poor. I'm not gonna lie, but he did get the goal, which is important for him for his confidence. But again, I don't. It wasn't good enough. His general play was not good enough. He is a box striker, and to be that, service is important. And it wasn't the best service for him tonight, but it's just not good enough in terms of the performance. Timothy Weah, I think he's one of those players that his worst performance is like a 6 or a 7. Like, that's how good he is for this U.S. men's national team. He's always direct, vertical, creates so many chances, not only for himself, but for his teammates. I really think, he is one of the more consistent guys for the U.S. Now, there's a ceiling with him, but there's also a really high floor for him. I don't think his performance, because the pace is always there. His ability to beat guys one-on-one, the verticality he provides, that'll always be there, even if he's on good or bad form. And he's very, very active, high energy levels. So I had to give him a very high rating there. They were really, really, really good. I'm not gonna rate the substitutions. Yeah, that's too much. But yeah, it's a good start for the U.S., but obviously there's a lot more work that needs to be done.